Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.
All right, man. We doing something. We got a little something impromptu. Welcome to the Cavs post-game show. You know, I decided what I was going to do. I said, man, listen, if the Cavs is jumping, why is it that we can't get nothing for these Cavs? We do everything with the Browns. We rock and roll with the Browns all the time. So my thing is, we definitely got to get to a situation where we're going to do the post-game show, and that's what we're doing today. If you want to get involved, as you can see, we got some new bells and whistles. You got some new bells and whistles right there. We got the VIP hotline popping. So now what we're doing here is we're going to give you, throughout the season, we are going to give you an opportunity for you guys to have live interaction with the show. Today, this is a dry run. We work some kinks out and work the bugs out, but this is what we plan on doing in terms of the show. And so that's the hotline number. You can get involved and get in touch with us over here as we do the Cavs post-game show. So as always, want to shout out everybody that's in here. If you ain't in here, just know this is what's new. This is what the deal is. This is what's popping. And this is where you can come to get that Cavs content every single game after the post-game. Come on right here. Cavs going to make a run this season. And we got to have some people breaking it down. I saw a void in the market, so I said, let me go ahead and get to that. I'll go ahead and bless the streets with that. First and foremost, let's go ahead and get to the game tonight. Cavs lose to the Sixers, 103-93. And if you listen to the regular radio show today, if you listen to the barbershop, I spent the whole, I think, first half of the show talking about the Cavs and what they need to do and how exciting they were as a team. Today was a really cool thing because we saw some growth. We saw some adversity. And we saw as a fan base that, don't get it twisted, like playoff basketball is a different type of animal. It's a different type of beast altogether in terms of basketball. And so what we saw today was a team that has an MVP candidate in Joel Embiid, and you saw up close and personal what it looks like, what that flow looks like, what that looks like in terms of what's going on with Joel Embiid, why he's so dominant, and why playoff basketball is a big thing. Even when I talk to guys like Hiram, I talked to Hiram, who's always a long-time local callers here in the Cleveland area. Hiram talked about something that I thought was key for this game tonight as the post-game show rolls on. I thought it was really key for the simple fact that he said when playoff time comes around, you're going to have a difficulty. You're going to have a little bit of issues moving the ball around. You may have some difficulties scoring. And what we saw today is Darius Garland off the pick and roll. They did him a lot of in service. Like they basically bumped him. They roughed him up a little bit. And they made him stay away from the basket. So when you watch that and when you see those guys picking and rolling and blitzing and making Darius Garland, not have a straight V line to the basket, I think you see that Cavs offense is a little more stagnant. It's definitely a little more stagnant when you don't have that. So when you look at Darius Garland, what they were able to do to him today, this is a heavy dose of what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of this in the playoffs. You're going to see a lot of this as the season goes along. The great thing about teams is that when you got a young team like the Cavs, when you got a young squad that is learning on the run, they grow in leaps and bounds. So today was a great learning experience for all those individuals out there who think that the Cavs are pretty good or going to get to where they want to be and they can move, make a nice little deep run in the playoffs. Today was a, I think, measuring rod game for them. I was interested in seeing the game tonight, and the measuring rod is how do you deal with a dominant big? What is your adjustments going to be when the game turns into a half-court game, a slower pace affair in the playoffs? And also, what is your answer to getting points? Karis LeVert had a big game against the Indiana Pacers a couple days ago. He really showed up when Darius Garland was out of that lineup. But today, not so much. Darius Garland was hot. He was rocking and rolling. But it looked like the Cavs at time had problems scoring the ball. Kevin Love didn't particularly have a good game tonight. I thought Evan Mobley could have been a little more aggressive. But that's part of being a rookie. That's part of being a rookie. Part of what comes with trying to find out with new pieces and new parts where they fit. I think all of those are things that Evan Mobley will figure out. And as the season goes along, he's going to have to find out, okay, where do I affect the game? We know what you can do defensively and blocking shots. We know what you can do defensively and doing and rebounding and doing some of those other things. And so it's just one of those things that when you look at this, I think the Cavs are a team that is on the right track. I'm still really super optimistic about what they could do this season. Today you show what pedigree was. Show what pedigree was, and when you're doing that. My man DJ Who Dat. Yo, what up, man? Usually he's always supporting when the Browns is on, always supporting, and definitely you always got to think ahead when it comes to this content. Because at the end of the day, I think the Cavs are going to go really, really far. I think they're going to have an opportunity to go far in the playoffs. This game was a measuring stick, and I think the Cavs saw what kind of talent that they have, but I also think they had an opportunity to see what them other teams got. Because I tell you what, when you go to the next guy, and when you look at this is crazy. Joel Embiid, I'll tell you what. Joel Embiid was a guy for me that really, really, really showed up in this game. Joel Embiid was a guy who I thought was an MVP candidate, and I haven't watched him too many times this year. I'll give him all the credit in the world. I think one of the things that we saw with that is when you say Joel Embiid, you think of a traditional big man. You think of a guy that has his back to the basket. You may think that he's a guy that could only get his buckets in the paint, and he's a guy that's going to be physically dominant, rebound, block shots. But he showed the total package today. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Can't lie to you, fam. Showed you the total package today, and what he showed you was it's levels to this thing. See, when you're an MVP type candidate, you can affect the game in so many levels. I thought he came out aggressive. I thought he came out and showed his total game from shooting threes to the post-up game to his back against the basket to all those things. I think Joel Embiid did a great job of just showcasing why he's an MVP type candidate. He's almost averaging 30 points. Heck, he had 25, 26 in the first half. So we also see that when you run your game in the post through a guy like Joel Embiid, one of the things that you have and one of the things that happening is, Joel Embiid, when you have that, you got guys that can hand the ball off. You got guys that can pick and pop. You got guys that can get to the rim. And I think you saw some of their tertiary players. The others are getting their money off. Too many layups in the first half, a lot of layups given up by the Cavs. I thought they had a lot of lapses in terms of their defensive rotations. But here's what I will say. The Cavs always give it to you, don't they? Cavs always give it to you. These guys were down almost 17, 20 points, and guess what? Guess what happened? Cavs come right back. And at one point in time, they roar back, get the lead in the third quarter. And, one disappointing thing about that, though, is I will say this. One disappointing thing that I do see when it comes to the Cavs, and I think they're going to have to really watch this, is the fact that you're getting down 20. You don't want to make that a habit. You don't want to get down 20 like you did against the Pacers. You don't want to get down 20 against some of these teams and then have to dig yourself out of a hole. Because now you got to get multiple stops. You got to get multiple scores. And I'm talking about back-to-back. That expends so much energy. If they hit a couple baskets to kind of, cool you off, it's hard to get over that hump in terms of what we doing with getting back in this game. Let's get back to the chat. My man James Talley says, G. Bush the first in Cleveland doing the Cavs postgame. Salute. Hey, man, look, man. I tell you how I do, man. One of the things out here that I always give people, like they say, G. Bush, I love your show. One of the things that you got to do, and I talk to a lot of people who are who want to get into radio, who want to get into television or do things like that. That's a very hard industry to break into. I've been in it 10, 11 years, and I'm only doing 1 or 2 days a week outside of football. But if you're going to be able to get into the game and do something, what you got to do is you got to be able to be forthright thinking and be not afraid to do what you need to do. Right now, it's 15 people watching, right? It's 15 people watching at this point in time. But that's how you build a base. I'm trying to reach out to the Cavs fans out there that want that, want a piece of that on the internet, that want to talk about the Cavs, that want to talk about game after game after game. Because, look, the Browns are going to be exciting. The Browns are one of 17 games. You could break those down and those stay there. But for this season, I think it's good to get acclimated with people and get acclimated with these guys out here that want to watch this Cavs content. They get that Cavs content because guess what? When playoff season come around, you're playing every other day, every other game. So we definitely, that's what we on right now. Let's see. DJ Hudat says, Embiid is a problem. Embiid and Harden is a cheat code. They get all the calls, my G. I'm going to tell you what, that's how the NBA always been. NBA has made no bones about it. If you Michael Jordan, you Kobe, you LeBron, well, LeBron didn't even get calls in Cleveland now. We still can't get no calls. Steph Curry, if you a superstar or you a Hall of Famer, you get every benefit of the doubt. And they definitely is giving Embiid that benefit of the doubt right now. For my thing is, when you look at this trade, and you can put that in the chat, I want to let you guys know. Let me know what you guys feel about the trade for James Harden for the 76ers. Because I think that's a trade that it could go both ways. I've heard the Knicks won that trade. I've heard people saying the Sixers won that trade. From the looks of it, the way the Sixers is playing, I think the Sixers might have got that, man. A lot of people saying the Nets, but the way Joel Embiid was playing, this cat looked like he was the next coming of Ewing Olajuwon. You be like, who is that? No, that's Akeem Dream and Ewing. I'm like, this cat, Ewing Olajuwon is out here killing us from the threes to getting to the basket to leading the break. Showed you everything you wanted to see today. Now you got a James Harden who I think is going to run a tremendous amount of pick and roll. And all you got to do is realize when you talk about James Harden, all he has to do is realize, I need to get the bigs involved. Let the big fella eat. Let the big fella eat. When the big fella is eating, you can get yours, right? When he goes to the bench, he tired. Now James Harden can say, okay, let me go back to Houston, James Harden. Let me get back to the Houston where I can run ISO, get to the basket, make it and finish and kick and get other guys involved. But let me make sure the big homie down there is eating. So when you look at James Harden, I think the trade is great for them because, when you looked at it, Philadelphia played really good defense tonight. I was impressed by what Doc Rivers brought defensively to that table as far as the defense goes. So I think Brooklyn did get a couple pieces that they like. You definitely get Seth Curry. You definitely get the main piece is Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons has a skill set that doesn't involve him shooting. He could just be a great defender. He could be a guy that can switch on anything. He could be a guy that is a 6'10" guy that could get to the rim. And he's going to cause trouble for any guard that's a little smallish, right? Let's get to some of these comments we trickling in. Let's get to some of these comments really quickly. Let's go. Patrick J says, thank you for doing a Cleveland Cavaliers show here and on 92.3 The Fan. Got to, man. See, it's only so much you can be running around here talking about Baker Mayfield. It's only so much you can sit around here and talk about Odell Beckham Jr. It's only so much you can talk about Kevin Stefanski running. Man, I ain't got time for that, man. Cavs is 1 or 2 games out of first place. These guys could be potentially playing when it's hot outside. That's April, that's May, and who knows? That's June. Plus, it's a really good feel-good story in terms of what the Cavs are. The Cavs came into this season, no expectations, right? Just like this. I didn't come in here like have expectations. I came in here and say, let me fire my camera up. Let me do some things. Let me tweak a couple things and see if I can make this thing a little better. And we'll talk about the Cavs. So there's no really expectation levels for the Cavs. So every game you see is a learning experience. It's enlightening, and it shows you where the Cavs need to work on in order to get to where they want to go. I thought today the Philadelphia 76ers showed them what playoff basketball was all about. That atmosphere, that playoff basketball is a different animal. Hello from Illyria. Salute to Illyria out there. I appreciate y'all out here checking in with me. 10:16, a little late at night, but you know what it is. This is for the night owls. Let's see. I'm down with you, GB. From the Browns to the Cavs, let's go. Hey, y'all better switch y'all's game up. I don't want to see none of you cats. Don't try to be on the Cavs now. I'm a fair disclosure. I was down on the Cavs in terms of what they were going to be able to do as a contender. And Kobe Altman and Bickerstaff and those guys, I think they did a tremendous job. But for all y'all media dudes, y'all might want to jump on this bandwagon. I don't want to see you around April kicking dust. Don't you get no podcast at April. Trying to come around in April. It's already Guardian season. DJ Who That says Nets win the trade. In the end, they got a center and a shooter out of the deal. And plus, I mean, keep it real with you. They got a guy who I really think is dope. But here we go. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get to the barbershop VIP line and bring in a special guy. Who we got here? Let's get Welcome to the Cavs Postgame Show. It's your boy G Bush. Who I got on the line right now?
It's your boy Earl the Pearl. What up, man?
Earl the Pearl, what's good, my G, man? Thanks for checking in on that VIP line. I appreciate you, my guy. And for all you guys that don't know, if you want to be a part of the VIP line, if you want to give me a call sometimes, email me at gbush91@hotmail.com, gbush91@hotmail.com, and we could definitely get that. VIP number is at the bottom of the screen. If you want to get in and you want to call me and talk about these games, hit me up, gbush91. Write down the VIP number. I'll respond to you. We can get you on. Well, Earl, what you think about the game tonight?
Man, too much indeed tonight, man. Too much indeed. I think this is the second straight game where we came out kind of lax in the first quarter. What was it, 47 last night, 36 tonight, and it was just too much for a young team like us to overcome. They did do good the rest of the game. They gave up less than 25 in each quarter after the game. But, you know, with us being a young team and starting off slow like that, it came back to bite us versus one of the better teams in the East. But hindsight, I think it's a good measuring stick, and I think it's something we can bounce back from and learn from.
Oh, listen, no doubt. I think one of the things you hit it right on the head. The first one was that Embiid, to me, he showed me levels today. Embiid, I was really impressed with how aggressively he was coming out. And the fact that he's hitting his free throws when you foul him, that's another thing. Shooting over 82, 83% at the free throw line. He showed you the 3-point acumen. He showed you, carrying it coast to coast. And he also showed you being physical. Embiid looks like one of a top 3 player in the league right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. He definitely showed you that 3-level scoring ability. Like you said, man, just being aggressive and asserting himself early on, and that dominance just carried on throughout the game. You know, when he's in his bag like that, man, G. Bush, he's unstoppable for you.
Man, another thing, I looked at the situation with the Cavs offense. We talked about it a little bit about a week ago. Darius Garland, I thought he had a dope game. I thought Darius Garland came out and he was trying to go, blow for blow with Embiid. He showed his game. His jumper looks a lot better than. I mean, if he open, you give him some time, he's knocking that down. One thing that we didn't see is we didn't get the production from Karis LeVert. Obviously, he's new. He's only been here a couple of games. Gave us 22 against the Pacers. But it looks like sometimes still a little bit of, in the offense gets bogged down a little bit. And when they ratchet that pressure up, it looks like we still struggle to find where the buckets is going to come from.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think one of the things that's being undervalued is the injury to Lauri Markkanen. And I think that's something that's not being talked about enough, because we're having him out there on the floor. He was just coming into the ball. You know what I mean? He was starting to find the shot consistently. And when things are slowing down and getting balls down like that, Garland is going to be able to find this shot. But you need those other shooters out there, man, that can, space the floor and create opportunities for other people. LeVert shot 5 of 16 tonight, 11 points. I think, 32 minutes of play. He's still getting acclimated.
Mm-hmm.
And once he get his feet up under him and really just get that chemistry going with his teammates, I think he'll be okay. But I can definitely sense that we missing Markkanen. Love struggled from the field tonight, 1 for 5, 0 for 4 from 3 with 10 points and 17 minutes of play. So it was really just a tough night all around. And, Garland is the constant. I kind of want to see Evan Mobley assert himself a little bit more. Really kind of thought he could have did more yesterday. Seemed a little timid then.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit timid tonight, too, to be totally honest with you. So, other guys are going to have to step up. The Cavs chose to make the LeVert move the only move, so these other guys are going to have to step up. And against teams like this that you're going to see in the playoffs, and it's pivotal.
Yeah, man, you said something just now about Mobley. I think, when you're a young fella like that, he's played all these games so far. And I asked Chris Fedor, he's the Cavs beat reporter for Cleveland.com. I said, is it a thing with you thinking about him hitting the wall? And when you're in college, you playing 40 games tops. He's
literally just asked this question yesterday. Did he hit a Ricky Wall at 56, 57 games? Has he come up against that wall? I agree with you.
Yeah, and the thing too is I think it's going to be a unique opportunity for JB Bickerstaff to work with him, because like you said, I think he struggled the last 2 games to figure out where he fits now. Like, one of the things when Darius Garland was out and you had Rondo or maybe even Ricky Rubio playing a lot of minutes, Evan was like, okay, well, I know where I need to get my shot at, right? I know how I need to get involved and I need to be aggressive. But they've added some pieces. You've added back Garland into the mix. Lauri Markkanen is not there, but you've added a guy like LeVert. So now it's a situation where he's trying to figure out, okay, where do I go? How do I get it? How we going to make moves and how we going to do that? I definitely think he needs to be more aggressive. But again, that comes with time and figuring out as a rookie playing on the road and playing in the NBA.
But not only that, man, I think it comes with just not overthinking the situation. You think about it, he played 32 minutes tonight. He shot the ball 6 times. He's not the only one. Okoro played 32 minutes tonight, shot the ball 1 time. When we talk about the offense getting bogged down, these guys need to step into the moment, step into that confidence, and really not overthink the situation. And it could be a situation to where subconsciously, the additional LeVert, it could be something that they're thinking about too much. And I know that might sound crazy to some of the fans, but 32 minutes, 1 shot attempt for Okoro, 32 minutes, 6 shot attempts for Mobley. This is not something that we were seeing prior to the acquisition of LeVert. So, kind of got to get out your head and just play with that same aggression that you've been playing with.
Play ball. And I think that's one big thing is go out there and play ball. Before we let you go, obviously this team, James Harden was not playing with the Sixers. What's your thought process on exactly, what the Sixers did, what the Nets did? Who do you think came out on top of that? And given what you've seen from Embiid and the surrounding pieces of parts for Philly, what do you think of Harden's going to do to that roster?
Man, well, the first part of that, I really think Brooklyn won a trade, when you look at it overall, because, Ben Simmons, he might struggle to shoot, but he's 25 years old. He's great defensively. He still can get to the basket. He's not somebody that you necessarily have to play at point guard. And then with that addition of, Curry and Drummond, Curry gives you another shooter when Kyrie is out there, somebody else that can handle the ball too, somebody else that can get Ben Simmons off ball. So I think Steve Nash can do a lot with that. You can always use a bigger body with Drummond. I think if James Harden is ready to roll, ready to rock, and his head is in it, I think it can help Philly, right now. That's an immediate impact. You look at how Embiid has been playing, how he's put himself in those positions. James Harden can play off a guy like that pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Get those guys and pick and roll. Embiid is not a guy that needs the ball to be successful. And that's something that's huge. And I think that's how that situation can work. But if I'm looking at this trade overall, James Harden is an agent superstar, and over the last 2 or 3 years, he seems to have been declined a little bit.
Yeah.
He struggles. He got his struggles, but he's 25 years old. I think G. Bush, my biggest question with Simmons will be, the heart. It's not even really the basketball intangible. It's the heart. If you get your all situations right and your heart is right, you're playing with some heart. You got to be a man out there. You know what I mean? And that can go a long way. But a new city, new team, new situation could be a first start for him. I like this trade more in the long run for Brooklyn. But I definitely think Philly's chances to, win the championship this year has definitely increased dramatically.
Earl, man, appreciate you for, stopping in on the VIP hotline. Appreciate you. Salute to you. We'll talk to you soon again.
Absolutely, brother, man. Great show, man. Have a good night.
I appreciate you, man. Earl, calling in, checking in, getting it in, doing a little bit, pulling up on me. If you want an opportunity, this is how we giving it up now. We're going to give you an opportunity to talk like this. If you want to be an opportunity, you want to be on the VIP hotline for a post-game show, all you got to do is email me at gbush91@hotmail.com. Just say, yo, G Bush, I love the hotline, love the Cavs post-game show. I'm interested on being on there, and we can get you hooked up. Let's continue to take some of these, some stuff in the chat. Let's see, my man, let me pull this over here so we can get it. My man, DJ Hudat says, hey, you guys think the superstar teams play hard every night in the regular season? I do not think they do. The playoffs, yes, for sure. No, I definitely believe what happens is in the playoffs, they ratchet that up. A lot of people in the playoffs are playing every other game all out. They're doing their thing. So they definitely is coasting a little bit in terms of what they're doing in the regular season. My man B Skrill says, damn, Brooklyn tried to come back to beat Miami. Yeah, we really needed this game tonight. I think this game was a measuring rod game. I think we honestly got to see what the Cavs do well and what the Cavs need to work on. And that's the great thing about, a team that has no expectations, a team that's young, and a team that it doesn't even have their best pieces or parts. Think about it. It's like this. We don't even have Lauri Markkanen. And I think Lauri Markkanen is one of the guys who I think is really key because, remember, prior to this, we were running the big lineups, the 3 7-footers. We were doing some of those type things. So those were things that we really wanted to get to. Those are things that we were really successful with. Lauri did come back for the shoot around. I think he did shoot around yesterday in Indiana. So I think he's going to be ready past the All-Star break. So I'm really interested in seeing that. So think about it. We can get Garland. We can get, Markkanen back. And I think one of the things is we're going to have to talk about whether or not we're going to start LeVert or not. I really think that you have to start LeVert, and given I would say given the lack of offensive firepower that, Okoro has right at this point. Now, it doesn't say that he can't, get to a certain point where he's going to be a guy that you can develop and get 10, 12 points from consistently or give you 16, 17. For him, his game is all about making sure he can lock somebody up, hustle, being physical, guarding other teams' best players. Without that being said, let's get back to the hotline. Let's go to let's see who we got here. Caller, who we got? Line 1. What's going on? You on the Cavs postgame show? See if we got him. We'll wait it out. Caller 1, you on the Cavs postgame show? How you doing? He's not here yet. We'll put him on hold real quick. He can get back. So yeah, definitely. If you want to get involved, The telephone number is under the screen. VIP hotline is available, 200-7859 is where you can get a hold of that. Let's get to a couple more comments here. My man Julius Jameson says, I'm tired of, I'm guessing that's Seti, getting all these minutes when he really ain't looked that good. I mean, they've been rocking and rolling with Jetty. They've been rocking and rolling with him. He's kept him in a couple games. He's done his thing in a couple games. So it's one of those situations that you can definitely see why they want to rock with him. Because he has shown the ability to make some shots. He's shown the ability to keep rocking and rolling. So I think that's something that they really can get into. Cavs will, my man Joe Manick says, Cavs will learn from this game. Definitely. I definitely think this is an opportunity for the Cavs to learn and get to where they need to be at. I think this is all about growth, man. My man, one of my favorite video game guys, he said, this is all meta, guys, all meta. All right, let's get back to the hotline, see if we can get.
Call from Doug. To accept, press 1.
All right, here we go. We might want to go ahead and accept that. Let's do it, man.
To accept, press 1.
There we go. We go right back to the Cavs hotline. We got, who do we got on the line? Cavs Postgame Show. You know how that goes. He's having difficulties. We'll get him back. All right, let's keep it moving. Both teams traded one headache for another. I guess you're talking about the Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. So both of those teams, definitely had an issue. And I think both of the teams got a little something and they got better. And the last one here, Sixers got the better, in my opinion. He could score. Brooklyn has one less score and come playoff time, you won't have Kyrie at home. That's another big one. And I always thought, to me, because I'm going to be honest with you, I put that thing on Kyrie. To me, Kyrie was the reason James Harden left. And to me, people saying, oh, well, James Harden quit on his team. You got to think about it. They had a handshake. All three of those guys, KD, Kyrie Irving, and some of those other individuals that's into the game, and Harden, they made the handshake like, yo, we're going to sign these extensions. We're here to do our thing. KD, is in it to win it. Harden was there. And then all of a sudden, Kyrie comes and says, I'm not getting vaccinated. So you can come out on whatever end about the vaccine or whatever, how you want to call it. But at the end of the day, you said that you brought these guys here. You pulled them together. And then you pulled out and said, oh, I'm only going to be playing away games. How is that going to work? Like that's just not tenable. Like, how are you going to just be showing up on away games? That ain't going to work in the playoffs. What if you lose 2 games at home? You in trouble. You in trouble right now. So I give James Harden credit. He's like, I'm not about to waste no year. I could potentially win a championship this year for the way the Lakers look at the West. I think I could beat this same Brooklyn Nets team the way that Kevin Durant is injured and Kyrie only playing on away games. He said, no. I got that right now. Let's get to one more in here. James Tolley said he been hooping. I agree. I think we can't look too much into this. It's the vacuums, one game, NBA, that's the way it works. It's one game. You got to look at it in terms of that, and you got to make sure that you're not knee-jerk reaction. But I will say this. Put in the chat, and this is kind of the conversation that we've been having, is, to me, I was a little disappointed in the rotation. Because if you look at it, I didn't see a lot of Rondo. I didn't see some of the other guys. I know Kevin Love had a bad shooting outing, but I didn't see the rotations as crisp as they was. But then again, Bickerstaff is going to have to get used to that, because that's playoff rotations. Some games, some guys are going to do not play. DMPs, that's going to happen. So you got to figure out in terms of who's going to play from week to week, game to game. And I think that's just going to be a work in progress. Let me get to this. I thought this is I really felt this too. I don't know if you guys felt that or you guys are in on that. I really felt it was a playoff atmosphere. I felt it was a playoff atmosphere. When you look at the way the Sixers was playing, I thought the crowd was into it, and it felt like to me, put it in the chat if you felt like that had a playoff feel. Go ahead, put one in there. Put one in the chat if you feel it had a playoff feel, because I really felt it had a really playoff feel in terms of what it meant, how they were playing, and just the overall physicality, the overall speed of the game. I think ratcheted it up a little bit, and it showed us what we got to work on. Let's see, man. Cruxton216 has a 1. DJ Hudat has 1. Solitaire 1. James Talley 1. Yeah, that's definitely it to me. Facts. Definitely a playoff atmosphere. I'm looking at that. Let's see. Definitely playoff energy. That series would go to 7. Both teams played hard. Just wasn't the Cavs' night. I agree. I agree when you look at it. It just wasn't the Cavs' night. I think they had a poor shoot night on top of that. If you look at the first part, it was rough. It was rough. They came out the gate, couldn't hit no shots. I mean, it was just a situation where I was just like, ugh, this might not work, bro. That might not work. Let's get to a couple more of these. So we can get it. George says, felt like a playoff game tonight, man. Julia says, now it expended too much energy against the Pacers, 47 points in the first quarter. And I think this is crazy. This was a back-to-back. So this was a back-to-back game. This was a back-to-back for both teams. So I thought you had an opportunity to see exactly why these teams are in the NBA. Let's see. Felt like game 1 of the playoffs. Young squad knows that they can grind it out when they're behind, but need to learn not to be in that spot. So, looking forward, what teams are you really watching? So one of the things that, about basketball season when it comes, it's not about, just watching the teams like in our division. The great thing about it is in basketball season, you have an opportunity to kind of watch a lot of different teams and kind of in a pecking order. So where do you guys have the Eastern Conference so far? Right now, every team is about 1 or 2 games behind each other. You got Miami, the Chicago Bulls. You have obviously the Cleveland Cavaliers. You got the Sixers. You got the Nets that are battling. The Milwaukee Bucks we don't talk about a lot. We don't even talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. And Giannis is just one of the great guys. Where do you guys now have in the pecking order after seeing this game? Where do you got the Cavs coming in at? To me, I gotta put Philadelphia at 1 right now. I would put Philly at 1, but a close 2 is the Bucks. You know how it is when you got that hangover, that championship hangover. I would put the Bucks right underneath there. I'm not a big believer in the Chicago Bulls. I think DeMar DeRozan, his medium game is some of the best medium sauce game in the league. He's some of the best medium. Like if he wants you to get you a bucket, he's elbow to elbow. He got a little JV Kobe Bryant in his game. DeMar DeRozan can really put buckets up. But I'm not really a true believer in them as a contender going deep. And then I look at Brooklyn, depending on Kyrie Irving. If Kyrie Irving comes back and says, hey, I'm going to get the vaccine, I'm going to be able to play, and I'm ready for the playoffs home and away, I got to put the Nets right back up there. Because you forgot what Kevin Durant was doing last year. You forgot about that? KD was giving the Bucks buckets. I mean, they're right back up there. So, yeah, what do you got the Cavs? Because for me, I think the Cavs got a great squad, right? But they need – it all depends on where they get the buckets from. because the disadvantage to having a really spread attack and having 4 or 5 guys come off the bench, you got Jetty, you got Rondo, Stevens, you got Okoro could potentially come off the bench. You got Dean Wade. We got to change your name too, Dean. We can't be calling you D Wade. Your name got to get switched at some point. Can we call you Terry Wade? No, T and D sound too much alike. Call him M Wade. You can't. No one's name is M Wade, but we need to change your name because I can't be saying D Wade was balling. It confuses me. It gets. I can't do that. So, but you got all those guys. Those guys are all coming off the bench. But when the playoff time comes, you know how Shaq give it. The others. It's all about what the others can do. What are the others doing? What are the others showing up? It's all about whether the others are doing what they need to do. And if you could get them 15 to 16 from somebody else, that's cool. But here's the problem. When you're going against bona fide teams like this team, I do agree. The Celtics are on a roll. They can go get a ball to Brown. They can go to get a ball to Tatum, and they can get them 40. See what I'm saying? People forget how the Cavs won a championship. Go back and rewind them tapes. We didn't have no ball movement like this. It's hard to do, but you got to have professional scorers to do that. You got to be legit. And the Cavs had LeBron and Kyrie coming back from 3-1. You know what they gave you? 40 apiece to get you 3-2. Gave you another 40. You got to have guys doing that. So when everything breaks down and you need the shot clock to go, we just need Karis LeVert to find his footing. We need Marketing to come back, get his footing back, and then we need about a 5 to 10 game window where we can go ahead and gel and do what we need to do. Brant says, next time we face Embiid, Allen needs to get very tough and physical. And send chips out to Embiid and make a home run and have Mobley and Allen beat down on them. You know, the thing is, they tried the Cavs. If you watch the first part of this game, Cavs really did try to do that. Cavs did try to move and bring the double team from the weak side. But it was crazy because Embiid was just finding guys just over the top, finishing at the rim, step back jumper. It's a little rough. It's rough when that happens. So that's the thing about, when you're looking at what you're going to do, when you got an MVP like that, I call him Ewing Olajuwon. It's tough to stop Ewing Olajuwon out there, man. My man Mobley, Bear Theater says Mobley needs to hit the weight room. Facts. That's one part of his game that he definitely needs to work on, man. Definitely. My man William Wise, as always, thank you. If you do want to donate, Super Chat is available. You could also donate on Cash App at $GBush91. William Wise, as always, thank you for holding me down. He says, once LeVert finds his way, the squad will be a team and no one wants to play. I totally agree with that. I totally agree that the Cavs will be a team that nobody wants to play because they're going to get in that rut. They're going to get into that nitty gritty, and then they'll start really gelling, and everybody will start getting the touches. Kevin Love will know where he needs to be. Garland will understand where he needs to pick his part at, pick his spots, and do that. It just takes a little bit of time to get all that going, and so I think the Cavs will get there. Just takes a little bit longer. That's all. Joshua says the D was good enough to win this game. Darius Garland 6 turnovers and LeVert's horrible shooting killed us with the W. That can't happen in the playoffs. I think facts. We saw that. Darius Garland, if there is one knock on him, Darius Garland does get a little happy with the ball. Let's see if we can go back to this really, really quickly. We're gonna see if we can get back to the hotline. If you are out there, give me a call back on the hotline. We'll see if we can get you back on. But yeah, Darius Garland does get a little loosey-goosey. He gets a little loosey-goosey with the football, the basketball. They got me thinking about the Cavs. Draft season coming. Loosey-goosey. Lane's, or is that Lonnie? Lonnie Starr says, Okoro needs to develop his offensive game, or he's going to end up like Stanley Johnson or Justice Winslow. Wow. I have not heard of Stanley Johnson and Justin Winslow, and that's the way the league be working. Y'all ever notice this? See, this is a different game with the hoop game. You can be a high draft pick and just be gone the next day. Remember that kid? What was his name? It was Robinson or something. He went to Kansas. He was like the 4th overall pick. I think the Sacramento Kings drafted him. He was like a tweener. He was they claimed he was a power forward, but he had all the small forward features. I forget this man's name, but that's the way Justice Winslow couldn't shoot a lick. It ain't too many left-handed people that I know can shoot. I mean, you name me one knockdown shooter that's left-handed. I'll wait on that. We need Morey back. Agreed. Cavs 100% healthy. I got them as a 2 seed. I think actually it's very important for them to get a home court throughout the playoffs. I truly do. I think that it's very important to get it because those games, the difference between home and away is different. And in the playoffs, the shot making just go up. I mean, there's nothing you could do. They just be hitting. Let's see. We could have gotten Derek White for Coro, a 2-way shooting guard. Look what he got traded for instead. The Celtics got him. It's the way it works, man. All you can do with Okoro is hope that his offensive game continues to grow. Maybe he can get you to be a Bruce Bowen type dude, or what's the Allen from? Remember Allen, the guard that played for the played for the Grizzlies, Memphis Grizzlies. Tony Allen. Tony Allen was out there. Tony Allen was a defender, and that's all he was. And hopefully he can get his game to be a point where he can get that at. George says probably a 3rd or a 4th seed. 3rd or 4th seed. They're going to have to work it out. They're going to have to work it out and see what they got. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's definitely a situation where the Cavs need to get a little bit better. But I do think that they'll continue on this streak and continue to get better, and we'll continue to do that. So we're going to put a nice little bow in this thing. I want to thank everybody, 32 people in here. I appreciate y'all, man. If this is some content that you want to continue to see, I'm willing to put the work in. If this is something you want to see, something that you guys enjoy talking about the Cavs, I think it'll be more fruitful. We'll continue to go. We'll work out the kinks with the hotline. We'll get people involved with the hotline. I think this is something different that people are not doing in terms of, just different content. So as always, please, one more time, if you are interested in being on the hotline, joining the show, giving your thoughts, please email me at gbush91@hotmail.com. We'll schedule you an opportunity to get on the hotline, hear your voice on the radio, or I'm trying to make it that type of atmosphere so we can give you an outlet. If you like the Cavs and you're an NBA guy, we could talk NBA. We do it here too, just like we talk, in the football season with the Browns. Don't think we ain't up on game. We up on everything. So please, VIP hotline 216-200-7859. If you want to be a part of that, if you want to go ahead and be on the show, please email me at gbush91. Cavs lose a tough one today. We'll be back with you next game to do the recap of the game. And as always, hit like, subscribe, and like and share this. And hopefully we'll have a nice playoff ride into the spring. As always, it's your boy G Bush. I appreciate you. We'll catch you next time.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.